Welcome everyone to the Infinite Universe podcast. I'm your host, and when there's not a pandemic, your friendly neighborhood DJ, Jay Days. Alongside me, the Schwartz is strong with this one. I call him Old Ben Shalomi, aka Ben Pumpkin Claw Metless. What's up, man?
What's up, buddy?
Well, here we are. We got a great episode in store. A lot going on today. The news is coming at us fast and hard all week. And we've gathered up the latest superhero news, rumors, and fandom speculation, then put it all together in an hour-long podcast. We'll be giving you our takes and theories in the worlds of Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. Coming up in the show, can Disney make their lamest Avenger awesome with their own series? We'll be saying goodbye and hello to a few shows. Can The Mandalorian be any more awesome? Seriously? Plus, spoilers for upcoming Deadpool, Spiderman, and Venom sequels, and many other discussions circling the internet.
And I'll be giving you a quick overview of the Blu-ray release of Batman: Death in the Family, discuss briefly the 4 major storylines, and my overall impression of the animated film.
Before we get into things, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Like this episode, share with your friends, and follow us on IG at Infinite Universe Podcast. Oh my God, there's just so much news to get to. I don't even know where to begin. And just all week long, we've been getting so many cool rumors, spoilers, and leaks. And I'm really excited about this, Ben. Spider-Man 3. Apparently, there was a Sony Latin America release with a trailer coming any day now.
What?
Could be today.
I didn't know that.
Could be tomorrow. It could be within minutes, actually. We've been getting a lot of details, though, about this film finally, and I'm really excited. We are getting a Spider-Verse of sorts. 3 Spider-Men.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I'm super excited to hear about some of this stuff that I wasn't even aware of.
Yeah, so apparently what happened was there was a leak on the Sony Latin America site. You know how, all right, so when you make a website, you can publish pages to be visible or to be drafts or, to make them public. And I guess by accident, someone... And the actual trailer wasn't, I guess, released, but the draft of the title saying that there was going to be a trailer released. Anyway, there's all these different rumors and stuff coming out. But we do know that we are getting 3 Spider-Men. We're getting Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. They're coming back for this. And we are getting some sort of Spider-Verse for this Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I guess this was all rumor mill just, a couple months ago?
And it almost seemed like fans made this happen. With the success of Into the Spider-Verse, and then everyone's saying, oh, how awesome would it be if they did a live action version of this? Well, we're kind of getting it with this movie, it seems. Every detail that keeps being released about it is leading up to a Spider-Verse of sorts. And I have some theories about it that we'll get into in a moment, but what do you feel about this info that we got these 3 Spider-Men coming back?
Well, yesterday felt like there was a plethora of information just being released. I didn't know what was real, what wasn't, but then all of a sudden things were being confirmed left and right. I know there was rumors that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were coming back. We weren't sure what their parts were going to be. And
we also heard that they were hesitant to come back to these roles. But now it seems like they're all on board for it. I'm sure a fat paycheck helps, right?
I'm sure Sony opened up their pocketbook and wrote some nice numbers that enticed them to come on board.
So now that we have 3 different movie versions of Spider-Man in our lifetime, let me ask you, do you have a favorite of these 3?
Well, obviously, Tom Holland is my current favorite. Yeah, I do like Tobey Maguire. Spider-Man 2 to me is the Batman Returns of the Spider-Man movies.
I do it like this. I say Tobey made a great Peter and an okay Spider-Man. Garfield made a great Spider-Man, but a crappy Peter. And Tom Holland kind of is the best of both worlds. Garfield was a little too pretty boy, I think, to be Peter Parker. Dude looks like he came off cover of Tiger Beat magazine, and he's supposed to be some lame, dorky kid in high school. It didn't really come off, and then he's riding around on a skateboard. I don't know, that part lost for me. But as Spider-Man and his kind of his like jokey persona and how he would like taunt some of the villains while fighting them, I really like that. That was kind of true to the comics. It was snarky, it was funny. That was cool. But yeah, Tom Holland, I think for me is my favorite.
Andrew Garfield, I do like the first one. I like the Lizard as the villain, and I thought that to me was a nice paid homage to the Spider-Man character. Yes, you're right. It felt like almost like the GQ cover of Spider-Man wasn't supposed to be the nerdy guy that the comics portrayed him to be. But I feel that it will definitely work out.
Let me ask you, of the Spider-Man suits, do you have a favorite of these?
You're gonna hate me for saying this. I do like Andrew Garfield's suit. No, I do. I did feel Andrew Garfield's suit was like grimy and dark, and it did. It was.
When I went back and I looked at these pictures of these suits, and for some reason, I remember when it first came out, I loved it. But now looking back on it, for some reason, the Tobey Maguire one looks really cheap and cheesy to me in retrospect. I think because maybe, I don't know, I was like maybe 18, 19 or something, I don't know, when Spider-Man 3 came out, and I remember I got the Halloween costume of the black suit Spider-Man that year, and I don't know, for whatever reason, that costume reminds me exactly of this one that Tobey Maguire wore. It just looks like a cheap Halloween costume to me at this point. Being that we've had these other cool interpretations of it. But it is cool to it sticks to the original, look, and that's awesome. Whereas the new one from Tom Holland is a little too kind of techy, but I do really like it for some reason.
Well, they were able to kind of bridge that gap about the tech with Tony Stark backing him up. I do like with the Tom Holland look where his eyes change, because that is actually something that was brought up in discussion with the suit. In the old Spider-Man comics, they never drew his eyes exactly the same. So his eyes did seem to always change shape. So I feel like that was a nice like callback to the old comic book character of Spider-Man. Now, can I ask you something? Since they're bringing in the other two Spider-Men, are they bringing in their love interests?
Yeah, apparently all the female leads are also coming back for this. So who do we got? Mary Jane Watson, Kirsten Dunst, right?
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone is Gwen Stacy.
As Gwen Stacy.
And who is the last one? Oh, Zendaya as MJ. That's cool. Again, I think, yes, we are getting the Spider-Verse, but I don't think it's going to be the way that everyone thinks it's going to be. I don't think that these characters are going to be in the movie for long periods of time. Obviously, this is going to have to do with the multiverse. We're going to jump into that in a moment. But I think we should just hold our breath and not expect all of these stars to be throughout the whole movie.
I mean, I would love to see Emma Stone as Gwen, Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen. That's one of the fan theories online, is people are like, is she going to be in it as Spider-Gwen in one of these alternate realities? Psh, dude, at first when I heard about this movie and they were saying that they're going to try to do this, and all I thought was, oh, Sony's just trying to like throw everything in one package, and they're gonna, do the whole Justice League route where they try to throw too much in a movie and it just didn't land right. But I kind of think they're doing this the right way if they sprinkle it in a little bit and not force feed it to fans. So I'm okay with everyone being in it, especially if it's not focused on all three of these main Spider-Men and just, the current one that we have, Tom Holland, where he's interacting with these different parallel realities or whatever.
We also have to remember where he is in the MCU, where he's a wanted criminal now. Peter Parker's name has been tainted, and maybe they're there to try to rebuild his brand and bring him back to being the hero he should be.
Well, that's some of the theories that are going on, and one of my theories for the film is, so obviously I'm just piecing together all the stuff we read online and read from the comics. And in the comics, Doctor Strange was one of the superheroes who Peter Parker turned to when his identity was revealed to the world. And since we know that that happened in Far From Home, I think it's likely that that's going to happen right now in this.
Yeah.
Where, all right, at the end of Far From Home, his identity is revealed. Tony Stark's not there, his father figure type, to help him out. So who does he turn to? The next smartest person he knows in the Avengers, Doctor Strange. Now here's kind of where my imagination runs wild, and here's what I think might happen. All right, Spider-Man needs to go in hiding, right? Peter Parker needs to go in hiding. Maybe Doctor Strange sends him through the multiverse, and then he ends up in this Sony verse somehow. Maybe he meets Venom there, or this is how he meets these other Spider-Men. And then somehow he ends up in this universe meeting all these other Spider-Mans along the way.
I really don't know which direction they're going to go. From what was released yesterday, they just kind of announced all of this stuff that was coming out in the next film. And I don't want to create an image and hope in my head and then it doesn't live up to it. Now, one thing I am excited about is Charlie Cox reprising his role as Daredevil, or from what has been explained, he will be Matt Murdock.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think if we see him, I don't think we're going to see him as Daredevil. I think rather we'll see him as Matt Murdock for the reason that Peter Parker might need a lawyer in this film.
Well, yeah, that's what actually happens. Yeah. Or at least Aunt May does.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you this, Ben, because this is where my mind goes to when you start talking to me about Daredevil and how awesome that series was, how awesome that actor was at that role, because there was another role in that series that was absolutely amazing. And I'm wondering, if we got Daredevil and Matt Murdock, does that mean that we will also get Kingpin in this MCU?
I don't know. That would be great if Vincent D'Onofrio reprises his role as Kingpin.
I mean, he knocked it out the park, I
Absolutely.
think. There's a few roles I consider perfect casting for Marvel. They've done it in the past. I think Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I think Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. And the Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio, lands it. 100%.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I mean, that was perfect casting. And I heard he enjoyed playing that role, so I don't see him as, saying no if they reapproached him about
Yeah, he's a fantastic
reprising.
actor. He crushed it in that role. And, to see that Kingpin, if he does make it to the MCU, he's going to be so much more of a badass than he was in the Netflix series, because he's going to be an even bigger boss, I'd imagine, right?
Now, can I bring up the fact that there was also another announcement for a villain reprising his role from the Spider-Verse, Alfred Molina, who will be coming back as Doc Ock. So what if you have Alfred Molina, who's a powerhouse actor in his own right too, with Vincent D'Onofrio, another powerhouse actor, and you have Kingpin and Doc Ock in this Spider-Verse?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. You're going to need someone to gather all these villains together, right? You got to find someone to bring all these big personalities together. So that personality has to be larger than life. So as we're speaking of villains, that's the question is who, so we know we're getting a better picture now of who these villains are going to be for the next Spider-Man film. It's confirmed that we got Alfred Molina, Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2. It's coming back awesome. He did great in that role. We know we're getting Jamie Foxx Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man coming in there. All right, so there we go. That's already 2 of the Sinister Six, right? Now we have a whole bunch of other villains that are introduced. We have Vulture. We have Mysterio. We don't know if he's still around. We have Shocker. We have a Venom. I would love to see a Kraven the Hunter. There's a lot of rumors of the guy from The Boys, Carl Urban. Playing that role. That could be cool. There's also rumors of him maybe trying to go for the role of Wolverine, or that's what fans want at least. But I would love to see Kraven in the lineup of the Sinister Six, but I'm not sure if we're going to get that. But we do have a bunch of villains already in this Sony Marvel verse. So who do you think is going to make up our Sinister Six that we're going to get? Because it's all leading in that direction, right?
I agree. I definitely think that Sony is building up the rogues gallery of Spider-Man. the big bads to kind of come together. And maybe that's why we're getting the other two Spider-Men, because if they put all of these villains together, that may not be enough for one Spider-Man to handle alone, especially a Tom Holland who, already was defeated by Mysterio, who may or may not be dead right now.
And we do have some other Spider-Man villains coming out right around the corner. We have a Morbius movie coming out. We already have Scorpion in this as well. We have Vulture. So we know Michael Keaton, I believe, is also coming back.
I think he's in the Morbius movie.
There you go. And then we know we have a Venom movie. Now, for me, I don't know if I want Venom in my Sinister Six. I feel like he's such a big character that I don't know if he'd play along with, some of these guys, but I would like it to be a little bit more of an original Sinister Six. What do you think, though?
I agree. I think that they can play around with the cast and doesn't have to be the archetype Sinister Six that we're used to in the comic books and in the cartoons. They can add characters here and there like they did with the Avengers. It wasn't just the basic Avenger characters that we're used to. They can take some liberties and poetic license in the storytelling and can give us a great movie, even if it's not exactly how the comic books play out, which I know there are some fans out there who, if it's not strictly the comic books, they don't want anything to do with it. But as long as there's a good story that is, I don't want to say believable, because it's not going to be believable. Yeah, but at least makes sense. Because if all of a sudden the movie starts with a portal opening and the two Spider-Men come through and then all Sinister Six come through and there's no explanation, it's going to leave us scratching our head like,
well, that's what I was afraid of originally. I thought they were just going to throw all this in a movie and try, just be like, oh, look at all this.
Yeah.
But there's no story to it. It seems like we're getting a story. Peter Parker has to go on the run. Maybe he ends up in the multiverse to hide, or, maybe there's another explanation. Who knows? What if some of these villains escape their universe and come back to his? That's something that could be pretty cool. Let's talk about some of the rumors, though, for the titles. And again, as we record this, there's a Disney shareholders meeting going on in just a few friggin' hours where a bunch of information might be dropped or leaked in terms of the future of Marvel and some of these and some of the content that we're talking about today. So we might come back and just, interrupt the recording with some breaking news. But in the meantime, there are some rumors for the title of the movie. They stick with the word home in the titles of these movies. So we had Spider-Man Homecoming, we had Far From Home, and now some of the rumors are perhaps Homesick, Home Run, Run Home, Homeworlds. I've seen a bunch of them out there.
I like Close to Home.
Close to Home is the one that I think is the one that is people are speculating is going to be the title. That's the one that feels right to me, because again, it's going to feel close to home as he's going through these universes, but it's not going to be quite there, and he's going to be trying to make his way back home. So again, we might find this out in just a few short minutes. All right, let's move on from there and talk about some Venom spoilers. How about that?
We are Venom.
So apparently there were some Halloween costumes, officially licensed merchandise that was released on Amazon, perhaps, I think it was. And it shows a very distinct detail. Ben, do you see it in this
Yeah,
image?
I see it.
He got the insignia. Venom's got the spider insignia on his chest. So we do know for this Spider-Man 2, most likely, I mean, if this is one of those, oops, we released it before it looks like he might be getting the insignia. Now, I have a theory on that. Going back to Spider-Man, Peter Parker jumping around this multiverse, I think he's going to come across Venom, obviously, at some point. And we might see, just the symbiote, whatever the hell however you want to pronounce it, get inspiration from Spider-Man's uniform.
It could be. That could be interesting. If it would be cool to see Tom Holland and Tom Hardy interact. I agree with what you said earlier about how having Venom involved in this like rogues gallery of Spider-Man villains would be a little bit overkill. I feel Venom deserves his own kind of story arc in order to build him up. We were introduced to Carnage, and in that picture you were showing, it does include a Carnage costume too, which is very interesting. And actually, really, if I had that trick-or-treater coming to my house, I'd probably, I wouldn't let my kids answer. Like, that's actually a pretty terrifying costume.
Pussy.
Ah.
Let's move on. In the world of Deadpool 3, we know that's coming to us.
Whose balls did I have to fondle to get my very own movie?
Ryan Reynolds is back, getting paid a big contract, held out for that big money, and we know we got writers confirmed. So joining Ryan Reynolds for the writing of Deadpool 3 will be Bob's Burgers writers, Emmy-winning writers at that, Lizzie and Wendy Molyneux. I'm so bad at pronouncing names.
I'm pretty sure the comment section will correct us.
Ben, do you watch Bob Burgers at all?
I watched the first season. I've been watching the Christmas specials.
Oh, I love the show. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
I love the writing. It's funny. It's witty. It's kind of weird at times. I think it might be perfect with Ryan Reynolds and these three coming together to do a funny script. So now there are a lot of rumors around this that this is going to take place in between the events of Infinity War and Endgame. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So it won't be, present timeline, but we're going to see what Deadpool is doing in the in-between time of the events of these big, episodic Marvel stories.
So I take it Deadpool survived the Snapshot. Like,
Well,
I mean, why wouldn't he survive the Snapshot, right? Like,
Yeah.
He's been blown up. His legs have been cut off. His hands been cut off. It would make sense that he would survive the Snapshot.
And now there's also been a whole bunch of rumors out there of a more mature rated platform for Disney content because, they own a whole bunch of other movie studios. So Deadpool will probably end up on that platform somehow, some way. Maybe Disney After Dark.
Well, no, actually, I think it's Hulu. Because what I've been reading is that Disney and Hulu are going to combine together, because I did notice that Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 are streaming on Hulu now. Nice. So that might be Disney's use of how to get some of their not kid-friendly content out for availability. Maybe we'll hear about it more in today's news release when they have their corporate discussion about what's going to happen with Hulu and Disney Plus, because there have been some theories that both streaming platforms are going to merge together. Nice.
Well, hope my subscription prices don't skyrocket.
No, you might actually get Hulu for free.
All right, we also got a first look at a new series coming to Disney Plus. Some leaks for the Hawkeye TV series. Now, I remember a few months ago there was maybe rumors saying that this might have been canceled because of some accusations by Jeremy Renner's ex-wife, but I guess not, because they're definitely filming around New York City right now. The TV series is going to take inspiration from the Fraction Run comic series, 22 issues that happened in the 2012 to 2015, and the Marvel Comics series is at the top of many fans' favorite of the greatest comics of all time, especially for the Hawkeye character. We do know that we're getting Haley Steinfeld playing Kate Bishop. Now let's talk a little bit about Kate Bishop. Now, I must admit, I was not very familiar with the Young Avengers comics, and I guess I always assumed that Kate Bishop was Hawkeye's daughter, but actually, that's not the case at all. A little bit about her backstory is she grew up kind of this like rich, spoiled girl and was rescued by the Avengers, actually, and inspired to be like Hawkeye. So she starts training herself to fight, becoming good with the bow, and eventually joining the Young Avengers. And it kind of seems like this TV series is setting up for an eventual Young Avengers storyline, possibly a movie or a different TV series. But I think that's what we're getting with this whole Hawkeye TV show.
Well, I know Kate Bishop was a major character in the Avengers game.
Oh, nice.
She was a major plot point, which I know a lot of people have. It's very fractured on what fans think of that game, but maybe they're trying to bring her up, and that will introduce Miss Marvel in the future.
Yeah, no, it's definitely leading up to her having a bigger role in this universe, as well as, being the leader of an eventual Young Avengers storyline. And we'll talk a little bit about the future of some of this Marvel stuff. All right, let's talk about some of the villains in this series. So we do know we're going to get the Tracksuit Mafia and a villain called the Clown. Yeah, I don't really know much about either of these villains other than the Tracksuit Mafia likes to wear a bunch of Adidas tracksuits. But I think there are some other rumors of other villains possibly in this.
Well, speaking of fan favorites, one character I do know who is cast is Eleanor Bishop, and she's being played by Vera Farmiga, who people may know her from the Conjuring series. And Eleanor Bishop is actually working with Madame Mask, a fan favorite villain from the series who works with the Masters of Evil. So maybe we'll be seeing all these characters come together underneath that group.
Oh, cool. Nice. All right. So I do know some other information about this show, that this series will also cover the backstory of Ronin, and the times that Hawkeye spent in the 5 years as Ronin in between Infinity War and Endgame with some flashback sequences. So that'll fill in a lot of the gap of where Hawkeye was during some of these events.
Cool.
So that's really cool. I like that. And then I got to mention this. We do also have another fan favorite in this, the Pizza Dog, aka Arrow the Dog, who was once owned by the Tracksuit Mafia, but he saves Hawkeye by turning on his owners. Hawkeye rescues the dog after the Mafia throws him into traffic, and Hawkeye and Kate rename him Lucky, aka Lucky the Pizza Dog, mostly because, well, Hawkeye and Kate just always feed him pizza, and I'm a big dog lover, so definitely had to include him. But he is also in the series, so that's fun. All right, so there's a lot of rumors circling a lot of these Marvel TV shows and movies because you got to remember, these all connect now. All of these Disney Plus shows are a must watch because they're going to tie in directly to these Marvel movies. So there's so many rumors going around that Hawkeye might lead into some possible ties with Thunderbolt Ross or the Thunderbolt storyline, which will lead into the Hulk, which also has possible ties to the Black Widow movie we're about to see, as well as Falcon and Winter Soldier. And then all that to say this, that all of these rumors might lead into a possible Weapon X program, and that's super dope and really exciting to see all these dots being connected. And you're like, before you were saying I don't even know if I want to see the Black Widow movie, and now you're like, oh, this might lead into the Thunderbolts, this might lead into Red Hulk, this might lead into the Weapon X program, which will lead into Wolverine. Dude, my imagination's running wild. We had this whole 2020 of barely anything from Marvel,
now
and then all of a
everything.
sudden we're getting slammed with all this amazingness. As a fanboy of this stuff, I'm just super excited to just see the possibilities of where some of these shows are really going to go.
Yeah, hopefully the execution will work out. I hope that it just doesn't turn into an Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. thing where they have plans for it all to connect, but then they pull the plug later on and just include them as their own independent storyline that has nothing to do with anything else.
So all these stories now will be following a good, outline. It's going to lead somewhere.
There's a master plan.
There's a master plan at the end of this. And we've seen that, throughout the MCU, is that a lot of these stories eventually get to a bigger picture. Mm-hmm. Now, let's talk about some of the other Marvel TV series and phases that have been confirmed. We do know we are getting a Miss Marvel series, and she's been cast. So there you go, talking Young Avengers. We got another member right there. We're also getting a She-Hulk series. That's in pre-production. There's an actress rumored going around for that. A Moonlight series in pre-production, possibly Oscar Isaac.
I think that was basically confirmed, but not absolutely. There's multiple sources that are reporting Oscar Isaacs signed up.
Yeah, we are far from experts on any of this. We just take all the crap on the internet and make a podcast because guess what? Nothing else to do. Thank you.
We might actually get a confirmation later today.
Yeah. We might get confirmation of a lot of things later today, so stay tuned. Phase 4 Disney Plus shows that are happening just around the corner. Obviously, we got WandaVision, we got Falcon and Winter Soldier, we got Hawkeye and Loki. We know we got all that coming up. And then recently there's an announcement that we're getting a Nick Fury show, Agents of S.W.O.R.D.
Oh, wow.
So not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agents of S.W.O.R.D. now. That's the big rumor. Nick Fury's getting his own show. So that's really cool.
Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Sammy Jack's back. Spin-off of sorts of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury's own thing. Perhaps this will lead into Secret Wars. That would be really dope.
That would be awesome. Maybe we're learning that wasn't really Nick Fury we've seen in past movies. That was a scroll.
In all the movies?
Maybe not all of them, but maybe some of them since...
Well, I mean, we know in Captain Marvel that was the case.
Yeah.
But we seen Nick Fury at the end of Captain Marvel. He's on the S.W.O.R.D. ship.
Yeah, just hanging out on vacation on a fake beach.
Virtual beach.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I mean, listen, they're getting Samuel L. Jackson, I believe. I hope this isn't going to be like a young Nick Fury show, but obviously I don't think it will because it's S.W.O.R.D. He's on the ship. That's where we last saw him. But I don't know. We don't need a young Fury.
No,
Like
we don't need to
Sheldon,
go where he's
young
a cop.
Fury.
Yeah.
We don't need that. And, we also got some confirmed movies down the pipeline. Guardians 3, Captain Marvel 2 we spoke of, Ant-Man 3, and Black Panther 2. Got to stay tuned to see what they do with that. But Phase 5, that's really, more than likely happening. Again, any moment now, this could all be confirmed, but we're supposed to be getting Deadpool 3, a Blade movie. That's going to be awesome.
Nice.
And it's also supposed to introduce the Monsterverse. So like Dracula, the Midnight Suns, perhaps like Ghost Rider. Wow. I mean, everything that I grew up like collecting, these comic books and cards and characters that I saw only on print or within years.
The
we're gonna
old
get to
Marvel
see,
comic book cards.
yeah,
with
or
the-
Marvel Masterpiece Collection.
Yeah.
All of that I'm going to see on the big screen, or at least on my TV screen. And hey, I got like a 62-inch television. That's a big screen enough for me. But it looks like they're really taking a lot of these side characters and developing these cool storylines for a lot of the universe that Marvel has in their back pocket.
Well, the stories are already built and the characters are there and there is a fan base, so why not utilize them? Blade was a cool movie with Wesley Snipes, but I'm glad that they're kind of recasting it and hopefully they'll go in a different direction.
Yeah, it got kind of, repetitive and stale toward the end, but the original one, I remember at the time, that was one of our
don't
first...
like Triple H in Blade 3?
I could have done without him. Again,
Ryan Reynolds?
I'll take Triple H over Cena any day.
Yes.
But, no, Blade was cool. The original one was one of our first really good comic book movies. Because prior to that, we had a lot of these campy kind of, or a lot of, flops.
The Captain America, the old school Spider-Man.
Those are the TV shows. That's real, like...
No, there were
cheesy,
movies.
though.
There were movies before.
Oh, the 70s though?
Yeah,
oh,
like
no,
70s and 80s.
I was more referring to the Batmans, not like Batman and Robin type, campy, or Fantastic Four, the first one that was kind of not that great. Where now we're kind of getting these, just a bunch of cool, better storylines, different directions. And speaking of the Fantastic Four, it really looks like we're getting one of those movies down the pipeline. Nothing official yet, but just fans asking for Jim from The Office and his real life wife, Emily Blunt, which can very well be possible now because, hey, fans were rooting for Rosario Dawson to play Ahsoka, and they got their wish. I could see this happening.
Although we'll see if they can break the curse. Maybe Kevin Feige could pull the Fantastic Four out of this supposed curse, quote unquote, because it has been said that Fantastic Four is one of those names that is.
Well, now that you said that, I just pieced it all together, going back to that that one that they made
in the 1990s.
Yeah, that documentary that came out about
Doom, the failed Fantastic Four film.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it was about they hired a bunch of actors to make a Fantastic Four movie that they just made to write off money or something like that.
So
they were never really going to put the movie out.
They were trying to use it to leverage for more money for a higher budget Fantastic Four film because due to their contract, they had to have film production. Now, they technically didn't have to make a movie, but they did. And the actors and everyone involved with the movie, even the director, thought that this was going to go on screen. And a couple days before the movie was supposed to premiere, it got bought out by a huge amount of money, and basically Fox's studios like kind of claimed they burnt the originals. Now it was leaked online, and there are
I think I've
actual
watched clips
bootlegs.
of it.
If for any fans that haven't seen it, I would definitely check out the documentary Doomed. It's very interesting about how these actors who you would recognize now were kind of duped into, making a film that basically the people above them got paid big dollars to never release.
So what you mean by this Fantastic Four being cursed is that happened with that movie. The other one that we got wasn't that great, and then the more recent one that we got
there were two other ones
was even worse.
Yeah.
So the 3 movies.
4.
Oh, there's 4?
Well, it's the one from that was never released.
All right.
The other 2, because remember there's Fantastic Four and then Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
And then the newest one with
the new adaptation was, which was the worst of maybe even than the one that they didn't even put out, because it was pretty bad, the more recent one. But all right, so yeah, we have 4 Fantastic Four movies, and none of them were good. 3 of them, I think, more technically than 4, but maybe this will break the curse. I mean, if you get John Krasinski and Emily Blunt right there, that's a great start. I mean, fans are gonna love both of them, and they're good actors. And
they played together many times before, so they have good chemistry.
Was that Quiet Place, right?
A Quiet Place, yeah.
All right, I'm down. I'm in for it. But I mean, that's kind of all we have with this. Let's stay tuned, see what happens with that. And then another kind of rumor where I'm getting kind of pumped for everything where this is leading up to. There's going to be some sort of Mutants movie, Rise of the Mutants. It's going to be a Mutants movie before the X-Men, and I think it's leading more on a Brotherhood of Mutants, like an evil team of mutants. And perhaps this is where Rogue is going to come into the picture, or how she's tied into the Captain Marvel angle, or vice versa, something like that. Again, not a lot of information, all speculation from different insider sources and stuff, watching YouTube, reading articles and all that. I don't know.
I'd be down for that.
Really
that would
cool.
be awesome to see a gang of bad guys instead of just, the cliche good guy duo come together. Show us the villains before you show us the heroes who are meant for the villains.
Yeah, and, they've been on a path of kind of getting this. I mean, we had Suicide Squad, and now we have the Suicide Squad, so we have these villain teams. And if we get a team led by Magneto without the interference of Professor X or the X-Men, that's going to be awesome.
We see a young Magneto who's turned his back on his friend and doesn't even mention him, but then at the end, like,
gives no fucks. Fuck the world. Fuck anyone that's not mutants. And wow. Yeah, that would be really cool. I'm excited for that. All right, unconfirmed Phase 5, though. Again, all speculation, not a lot of info, but apparently an Avengers film, a new Avengers film, and I think it's just more leaning toward, again, going back to the Hawkeye series, a young Avengers spinoff somehow, some way. Again, because we are getting Kate Bishop in that, so there you go, there's our Hawkeye. We got Cassie Lang, who's a part of, Ant-Man's world, and eventually she could fit into the role of Stature in the comics. We have Iron Lad. He was the dude, that kid in Iron Man 3, and at the funeral of
that no one
Tony
knew who
Stark,
he was.
that random kid. He's Iron Lad in the comics. We know we're getting Miss Marvel, right, from the Disney Plus series. And then we're going to get, all indications that we are going to get the characters Wiccan and Speed, the daughter and son of Scarlet Witch, and Vision, and they're a part of the Young Avengers. So, boom, there you go. Young
Okay.
Avengers team. Again, that's probably 2024, 2025. Who knows? But again, all of a sudden, we went from having like
Nothing.
to look forward to like it's almost overload at this point. Because now I'm just my head's spinning because there's so many cool directions. I wasn't really that interested in the Young Avengers until I started piecing together the possibilities of what that team would be and the direction of Marvel leading forward.
All right, it's cool. Maybe we'll see them come into contact with the Brotherhood of Mutants first, and then the real Avengers have to come to save their asses.
All right, moving on. Let's talk some DC news. All right, let's get the triumphant sounds ready because HBO Max, I mean, it's old news by now. It's been out for a couple of weeks, but I'm really excited about it. All the upcoming lineup for the Warner Brothers lineup, right?
Yeah, 2021.
Are coming to HBO Max. They're also coming to theaters, but they're coming to the live streaming service simultaneously, starting with Wonder Woman 84 in theaters and on HBO Max on Christmas Day. $14.99 a month. Take my money. I'm there. Christmas Day. Perfect. This is my gift to myself.
Now, they have said, though, that won't be included in the free trial. So if you
actually have to buy the
you actually have to get the
$14.99.
$14.99. You can't do like the free trial. No, they're not dumb.
dumb.
Which I think might be a
okay
smart
with that.
move for them, because why hold these blockbuster movies in their vault and wait for possibly theaters to come through when they just launched the streaming service and they invested a lot of money in that. There's a ton of great movies coming out.
Yeah, and again, they're not going to like just let people get this content for free. You actually got to pay for it, so that's cool. And the other cool thing, this is what I think is kind of like the win-win in this scenario, is that I believe it's only going to be on there for a month, and then after that, it goes into like the regular release cycle of, it'll stay in theaters, and then it'll be released on streaming and DVD purchased, and then eventually to, streaming services, platforms, Netflix or Hulu, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So there is opportunity for income and growth for it to make revenue in the long term, not just in the short term. You know what I mean? So it's not the end all be all of theaters, but do you think this is kind of like it's theaters coming to a close?
I don't think it's theaters coming to a close, but I think it's movie studios realizing that the atmosphere and the groundwork for the land has changed. COVID has changed a lot. They've made a lot of movies that they can't even show to people. So I think Warner Brothers is taking the step forward. Netflix was very controversial when it first came out, and people, especially when they started putting out their own content. And now Warner Brothers is kind of looking at that groundwork they've made and going, okay, well, let's take the next step forward again. So I think it's very smart, although there are people out there who are not happy with it. Christopher Nolan has expressed his distaste and his displeasure with it, but he's a director and he's a content creator, so he has a right to express how he feels, even though we may agree or we may not agree. I mean, as fans, it's better for us, right?
Yeah, I'm excited about it because there's a whole bunch of other really cool movies also coming to the streaming service throughout 2001, starting with Mortal Kombat, January 15th.
Awesome.
Dude.
I heard it's going to be rated R, or at least it's going to be very different than the previous version we got.
I'm excited about it. There's been a whole bunch of those like fan-made movies on YouTube for years. Some of them really, really good that like, I just been like, like biting at the chomp of wanting a new Mortal Kombat movie, especially because the old ones that we grew up with are so like bad looking back in retrospect.
Nostalgia wise, they have some value, but yes, as movies themselves, you kind of look back and you're like, oh, this is super cheesy.
Yeah. Then next up, we get Godzilla vs. Kong, May 21st. I know you're excited about this, right?
This is a guilty pleasure of mine. The King Kong and Godzilla films. I love these films. I loved Godzilla, King of All Monsters, and I loved Kong Skull Island.
I was going to say, I'm not a fan of these, but I think I remember you being a fan of it. No, I think the only thing that I remember coming out of these movies is a really bad Puff Daddy and Jimmy Page cover song for one of the theme.
Well, that's a
songs
'98 film.
for
That's
one of the
something.
movies.
Yeah, that's a 1998 film.
But I
This
haven't
is
watched. I
different.
haven't watched the new ones with the chick from Stranger Things.
Yeah, that was Godzilla,
and-
King of All Monsters.
and also with
Samuel L. Jackson was in Kong Skull Island.
oh, was he?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And yeah, I don't know. I think I watched Kong Skull Island, and it wasn't really. It's one of those ones I turned off.
I actually
bit.
even like the old 1960s King Kong versus Godzilla. I actually still own it, and I watched it back
I
then.
just feel like these properties, though, in the right hands, have a lot of potential. So, and especially if it's on a streaming service, and if I'm going to be, it looks like with this lineup, I'm probably going to be buying it for a year, because they got some other really cool things coming out. So, I guess I'm on board for Godzilla and Kong. But we got Space Jam, the new one coming out. LeBron James, July 16th. That's going to be kind of cool.
I guess I'm not as excited as some people in my inner circle.
I'm
My younger brother is super excited.
Yeah, I'm
about
not uber excited, but come on, it's fucking Bugs, it's basketball, it's a
LeBron
remake.
James,
I
yeah.
wonder, is Bill Murray going to be in it?
I don't know. That
Damn.
would.
If
No.
it had Bill Murray, I'm definitely on board.
No, it may have Bill Murray. Bill Murray is notorious for never signing contracts for films.
And just showing up on set.
Just showing up on set. So he may be in it.
All right, and we also got The Suicide Squad coming August 6th. We talked about that a little bit the last show. I'm on board. James Gunn is going to be awesome. John Cena's in it. Of course, we got Harley Quinn, a whole bunch of other characters. Pete Davidson. Too many characters to even name. They're going to kill a bunch of them off. I bet it's going to be really funny, really violent, and really fucked up and twisted. Sign me up. I'm there.
That's cool.
And then we got Dune. I know you're a big fan of Dune. That's coming in
I'm
October.
a very big fan of Dune. I just finished reading the book. It's considered one of the greatest science fiction novels ever made. Now, the thing I think will fail Dune is that when people watch it, they're going to consider it a ripoff of other science fiction movies that have came prior to it.
But weren't they the
Based
OG?
on, this is like the original book that other people base their movies on. Like George Lucas was heavily inspired by Dune and even newer movies. So just remember that when you go in watching it. Oscar Isaacs is in that.
There you
He
go.
plays a major character.
Apocalypse 2.
Yes, he's returning as Apocalypse and Dune.
I have news.
I have news.
I didn't even know this next movie was coming out. Matrix 4, December 22nd. My birthday. What a cool birthday
Oh,
gift.
no way.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's something to look forward to in a year. Do you know anything about this yet?
I'm not familiar with it. I think Keanu Reeves is coming back.
Do we need this?
I don't know. The Wachowski twins have apparently there's going to be a 5 after a 2. They're doing 2 movies simultaneously.
I loved them. I mean, I liked the storyline. 3 was all right. 1 was epic. 2 was pretty cool, I thought.
Animatrix was cool.
Animatrix was really dope,
Yeah.
I thought. I love the sci-fi world of it. Hopefully they just do it better than 3. That's all I'm hoping for as a fan.
I mean, I could talk trash about this movie, but I will be seeing it. So it's not like I want to say, oh, it's going to be terrible, because I'm still going to sit down and watch it. Even if it was in the theaters, I'd probably fork over the money by myself, because I know my significant other at home will not go and see Matrix 4.
And then we also got rumors of Justice League probably coming sooner than later to
Really?
the platform. So I guess we're supposed to get it, late in 2021? I don't know. Rumors are that we might be seeing it as soon as January, February. That could be really
that's
awesome.
like a 9-month jump ahead.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're getting all this content just back to back to back. So we went from a pandemic year of everything on hold to all of a sudden, both Marvel and DC are going to start throwing a whole bunch of really cool content at us throughout the whole year.
Nice. Studio Wars coming ahead. I kind of like it. When they compete, we benefit.
All right, let's move on to DC CW shows coming to an end. Supergirl, their final season, mid-season 2020. It's coming up. It's going to be 20 episodes. I I never really watched too much of this series. I did like her though, and all the crossovers that she did with the Arrowverse. And I did really like the bunch of the characters though that they introduced in the series, including Martian Manhunter and their Superman. We do know we're getting a spin-off of their Superman in a new series that I know you said you were super pumped for, right? Superman and Lois, right?
I guess
you were
so.
like, oh man, when they're doing another one of these, yeah, I guess. I don't know if we need this either, but yeah, we're getting a 13 episode season and sets premiere in February actually. And
Didn't we already have this? Wasn't it called Lois and Clark?
yeah, back in the day. On the
Yeah.
CW, in fact, right?
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay. Well, season 2 was when this version of Superman premiered in Supergirl. The spin-off this is funny. Ready for this? You're going to love this. The spin-off will deal with all the stress and pressures and complexities that come along with being working parents in today's society. While raising 2 boys, Clark and Lois must also concern themselves with whether or not their sons, Jonathan and Jordan, could inherit their father's Kryptonian superpowers as they grow older.
Okay.
Damn, this sounds terrible.
It sounds like Home Improvement, but with
Oh
with
my God.
like,
All right, so we're getting the mom and dad version of Superman and Lois raising kids, hoping that their kids don't have superpowers and dealing with the pressures of being a parent.
Honestly, if this doesn't take itself seriously and they turn it into a comedy, I think it would be hilarious.
That's what I was going to
But,
say.
like,
If those little babies or children don't have lasers shooting out their eyes, destroying their home, or flying through walls, or like, you know what I mean? Like as infants, like
Yeah.
having abilities and it's almost satirical.
or they're
then-
pubescent and they're going
Yeah.
through like one kid, he realizes that he beat everyone on track and he goes for the football team, but he ends up injuring someone.
Oh,
and
God.
like,
So yeah, if they make this a comedy, okay. But if this is a drama, though, yeah, no, I'm out. If they make this Dawson's Creek of Superman, I'm
it
out.
is. It's going to be Dawson's Creek of Superman.
Oh God, so boring.
I mean, look at the picture. It's you know.
It looks so vanilla. It cannot
Yeah, it
look
does.
any more vanilla than that. Sorry, folks. All right. Next segue. Let's talk about Black Lightning. All right. So this season coming up is going to be their last, but it was actually just renewed earlier this year. So we're going to get that in February, but it was also announced shortly after that it's also going to be their final one. So cool. We get a 4th season, but it's the final one. I was going to ask you, have you ever watched this
No,
show?
I haven't watched it yet.
All right. So I really enjoyed season 1. I watched it in its entirety. Season 2, I watched most of. Kind of lost me a little bit, but I really did like it when it first came out. Now it premiered, I think, back in 2018, and it's a story of this guy named Jefferson Pierce, and he's a high school principal out in Georgia who was once a superhero, the superhero Black Lightning, but had since then retired for the past 9 years. And then one day he's forced back into becoming Black Lightning vigilante once again, right? Okay story. He's kind of a retired guy. He has another life. He has a family. He has kids. He stopped being Black Lightning. But the situation going on in his environment around him, including the school and out on the streets, is causing him to get back into the lifestyle of becoming a vigilante superhero. Now, at this point, Jefferson also has 2 daughters who are one's in high school, one's out of high school. And along the way, they discover that, oh shit, we also got superhuman abilities. So that's cool. So it's a family of, superheroes. And while the show is really super entertaining, it actually takes a lot of these serious tones and is really relevant to a lot of modern social issues. So I think it really like hit the nail on the head with a lot of current events and stuff, and just tied it into, you know, the fun pop culture stuff that we like in a way that was well done, in my opinion. And you got all of that in season 1. This guy, you know, also had appearances in the latest crossover event, Crisis on Infinite Earths, and that was super dope. He had a little cameo in that. What's weird though is that although that this show is coming to an end, one of the side characters is actually getting a spin-off show. For what reason, I don't know. Now we're getting a Painkiller TV series, and if I remember, basically this guy was a student at the high school that Jefferson Pierce was principal at, and he's also the boyfriend of one of Jefferson's daughters, and he also is a gang member of the 100. And long story short, a stray bullet hits him, hits his spine. He used to be a, you know, football star, all that. Now he can't walk, he's all fucked up, and eventually he gets a cybernetic enhancement from the badass crime lord Tobias Whale. He's kind of the focal point villain in the TV series. Now, all that to say this, why do we need this kind of side character spin-off series when we kind of had his story in the TV show? You know, it seems unnecessary to me. I don't know if I'm on board to watch it, but we're getting it.
Maybe it's sponsored by Pfizer.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, so in other news though from CW, we got a bunch of new shows coming our way. Some that seem kind of cool, perhaps. Some that, you know, we'll see where it lands. But we are getting a Wonder Girl show, and it's brought to us by the guy who brought us the Arrowverse, George Berlanti. And you know, some people call this the Berlanti verse, all these CW shows: Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, so on and so forth. And this series tells the story of, and again I might mess up this name, Yara Flor, who was born of an Amazonian warrior and a Brazilian river god, and she learns that she is Wonder Girl. It's really all the information we have on that. Other than that, it's scheduled to kick off sometime in January, so that's a few weeks away. In this picture, she kind of looks like a comic book Sofia Vergara. So it kind of looks cute to me.
It seems like they're just trying to explore new characters because they don't know which other way to take the direction.
Yeah. Well, the direction that they are coming back with is a new Batwoman, which I did not even watch any of the other Batwoman. Sorry, I watched maybe one episode. It looked terrible. We do got a new lead actress, and we are getting a new season of that coming next month, actually, in January. I think the 17th.
Maybe Painkiller will be in it.
Yeah, I'm going to do without Batwoman and Painkiller. We got DC's Legends of Tomorrow coming back. I kind of touch base with this every now and then. I like the crossovers. Kind of like too busy for me, I think. I kind of like the focal point of maybe more of a lead character and not a bunch of side characters. Have you watched DC Legends?
No, I haven't watched it since the crossovers with The Flash, which actually...
There are a couple cool characters in it, and there's some cool storylines, but it's just kind of seems all filler to me.
Yeah.
We also are getting another season of Stargirl. I didn't even watch any of that. She kind of looks like a superhero Hannah Montana to me. Yeah, I could do without her. But sign me up, though, for Flash Season 7 coming in February 28th.
Are you
on
all
Tuesday.
Caught up?
Yeah, Flash, yeah, pretty much. Last season was okay. There's definitely home run seasons within the 7 that, or within the 6 that we have so far. It's probably the best, I think, of all the Arrowverse, Berlantiverse CW shows.
Yeah, I kind of fell off, I think, around season 5 with the introduction of the daughter. I know they have included most of the seasons on Netflix. I've thought about getting back into it. Now, can I ask you, since you've caught up, have they fixed the outside of Star Labs yet? Remember, we used to joke in past episodes. how every episode almost started with the outside of Star Labs, and it was still not fixed since the first
Yeah,
season.
I'm pretty sure they eventually had this big grand reopening of Star Labs or some museum, something like that. They might have, I feel like they even destroyed it after then and then probably had to fix it again. I'm not exactly sure. I can't answer you on that. Someone get back to us, let us know. But that's it for the CW shows. So, Ben, recently you sat down with some new DC content. What'd you watch?
Yeah, well, I'm not into the DC shows as much as you are, but I am a big fan of the animated films. And recently, mid-October, there was a new release for Batman Death in the Family Blu-ray. It's based on the 1988 comic of the same name. Now, similar to that comic, I don't know how familiar you are with it. Back in the mid to late 1980s, Jason Todd was obviously Robin, very disliked by fans. So DC had a choose the fate of Robin, where there was a voting done and people could decide if Robin was to live or die. And this Blu-ray is similar in fashion, where it's choose your own adventure movie, where based upon events that happen, you could choose using your remote control the choices of the character based upon who you are, like Batman, if he lets Robin die or not, or Robin if you kill the Joker or not.
Oh, that's cool. I remember these choose your own adventure stories and growing up in school.
Now, just to let fans know, though, if you're streaming it by video on demand, there are only 4 choices on the video on demand to choose from. If you actually have the Blu-ray, the physical copy, it could lead up to 8 choices.
Oh, this is cool. Did you go through all the choices?
Not all of them, but I went through about 6 of them, 5 or 6. And based upon your choices, the movie could be up to a half an hour long or up to an hour and a half to 2 hours long.
Nice. I want to watch this now.
No, it's awesome. Cool. It involves a lot of staple characters like Ra's al Ghul, the League of Assassins, the Riddler, Red Hood, Joker's in it, Cheetah, Black Helmet. Nice. All of them. Yeah. Even Damian Wayne's in it at one point. It was fun to sit down one day and just go through, and, it brings you back to main screen if the story ends, and then you can go back and choose a different path to take.
All right. I got to check that out. That sounds really good. Great, even. And speaking of great, we have to mention at the close of this show, how amazing has The Mandalorian been? I mean, first we got Bo-Katan. Awesome. Then we got Ahsoka, and just when I was like, yo, they aren't going to get any cooler than Ahsoka, we get the most badass version of Boba Fett that we've ever seen. And I mean, that Ahsoka episode was amazing, but the Return of Boba Fett episode was even crazier.
No, I really liked it a lot. And apparently it clarified a lot of misconception and canon in Boba Fett's history. So
about what happened to him after he got dropped down in the Sarlacc pit?
Not only about what happened to him, because Boba Fett's history has been rewritten and written many times in canon lore. And it was said that he wasn't a Mandalorian. And you remember when he popped up that screen on his wrist to show to the Mandalorian that the armor belonged to him? So some people online have actually translated it. And it showed that Jango Fett did have a Mandalorian counterpart that he worked with, and the armor was given to Jango Fett by Mandalorian. So he's not Mandalorian in nature, but he does have a connection to the Mandalorian people.
Cool. Wow. Just when I thought, wow, how much time do you have to have on your hands to create your own podcast? How much time do you have to have on your hands to decipher Mandalorian fictional text?
Well, not only that, people were trying to decipher the text on the stone that Grogu was sitting on. Apparently, it was too fuzzy and not clear, but there are people who are trying to insinuate what the text is on the stone that he was meditating on. Now, speaking of, who do you think he was contacting?
Yeah, a lot of people are saying
Luke Skywalker.
A Jedi. That's
a Jedi, obviously.
I don't know. I've heard a couple different things. That Ezra dude that you were mentioning.
Ezra Bridger from the Rebel show. Now he's lost with Thrawn, but we did have Thrawn mentioned in the previous episode with Ahsoka. So are we going to get introduced to those two characters who are in the unknown region currently and return from them? But there are people saying that it's going to be Luke Skywalker, the most famous Jedi.
Ooh, I could see Mark Hamill making a cameo. Why not, right?
Well, there are also talks that Disney doesn't want to de-age Mark Hamill like they did in Rise of Skywalker, so they'll be recasting Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, that those images that are going around the internet of Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan.
Sounds like a fake name.
Yeah, right. Who does kind of resemble a young Mark Hamill.
There were some images online of him clean cut,
yeah,
and side by side. And I guess if they dye his hair blondish, I could see that. I would like to. You know what? I'm up for a recast of Luke Skywalker. As long as the green lightsaber comes out and the black suit and the black glove, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, again, I'm just really excited for all these latest news and rumors we've been getting all week. We just really got so much to look forward to in 2021. So with that, let's close out this show. Make sure to check us out again. Episode 13 right around the corner. We'll be talking Wonder Woman 84, Ant-Man 3, the 2021 movies and TV lineups, plus much, much more. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Like this episode, share with your friends, and follow us on IG at Infinite Universe Podcast, also at JDaysNYC and at Pumpkin Claw. Till next time, we're your hosts. I'm Jay.
I'm Ben.
We're out of here. Peace.